statistic fairly recently that presently there are more black men in prison that were involved in the slave trade
Yeah,
during slavery.
I can believe that.
Which is about as loathsome an idea as I can think of.
Right.
This is kind of part of the institutionalized racism definition, which is like we are now used to it.
See, this is you took the words right out of my mouth. You know, the book that Michelle Alexander wrote that everybody's talking about, the new Jim Crow, I mean, documents this so thoroughly that mass incarceration of black men is the new Jim Crow. She goes back and documents, again, how the black community, black men in particular, have been targeted specifically, and how now the prison industry is actually an investment. People invest in prisons, and it's a growth-producing industry. So these are things, and so when people talk about the fact that things aren't as bad, I mean, it's like I have to look at it. I never like to be pessimistic. I never like to just see the glass half empty. But I can't not see what I see. And statistics, to some degree, are real, and they express certain things. So what I'm trying to figure out is if you mentioned early on this lack of intensity, which really grabbed me, because I think that's part of the core of it. I mean, if I'm walking around like, you know, I'm upset, and the generation I'm talking to is kind of cool about this stuff, then we're seeing different things. And so the question I have is do you think the younger generation, I don't know if that's a disparaging term, or folks younger than me, 30-something, 20-something, because they have more friends of different colors and races, and they interact more, and they don't see the everyday overt racism, that they ignore the institutional patterns? Do you think it's possible they ignore the institutional patterns because individual relationships are better? I guess that's...
You know, I think it may go like a little deeper than that. I think the individual relationships have improved, which make more of a case for people of other cultures when you hear something disparaging about like a blanket generalization about people. Like, no, that doesn't fit with what I know of Oak, or that doesn't fit with what I know of Todd. Right. But I think that kind of underlying even this whole issue on some level is a degree of apathy that we're kind of moved into. Right. So if you recognize institutionalized racism, and you know something's wrong, if you claim to care about it at all, or people who may fall into that demographic, you have to do something. Right? Right now, it gets pretty challenging to get people to mobilize to do much of anything besides just trying to survive or just trying to really focus on their own thing. Like, I got to get, I got to get mine. And so, money over everything culture has definitely been part of that, where all throughout most artistic genres, you hear this like motif of, I gotta get as much paper as possible. So you have this individualism that's kind of trumping the collective. So if I'm doing okay and it's not really my problem, it's not affecting me and it's not affecting my family, well, I don't know if I have any time or energy, or I don't know if it's even my problem to deal with what's going on over there. To me, some degree of apathy is kind of at the root of like the across the board problem, right? So my friends who are of different cultures, we'd have conversations about, well, let's say we're all riding in this car, and like a bag of weed gets found here. What do you guys think? How do you think we will all be treated in the situation? And it's, there's a degree of discomfort that kind of everybody's like, yeah, you're pretty much hosed, Oak. It's going to be, I think most folks are aware in my generation that this disparity exists, but the power to do anything about it gets really kind of trippy. And also the volition and the feeling of accountability.